Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down 5 running backs who will help you win your 2025 Fantasy Football League. We are going to be talking about each of these 5 players in depth, and by the end of today's video, you will know exactly why. You don't need to just walk. You need to run up to the draft board and slap that sticker on there. You need to not just slowly move your mouse over the player's name to click the draft button. You want to move it at 1,000,000 DPI and select that player. So before we got into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel, you please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, make sure you leave a like on today's video. So without further ado, let's get into 5 players who will help you win your fantasy league in 2025. We begin with my first league-winning running back, and that is going to be Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. Sleeper ADP currently coming off the board as the running back number 9 at pick number 19. So in a lot of leagues right now, he's coming off the board in the middle to the late second round. And Josh Jacobs, to me, is an excellent complement to your fantasy football team if you end up going with a wide receiver in the first round. If he falls to the end of the second round and you already have Jamar Chase, you already might have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs is a running back that, in my opinion, could be the number 1 running back in fantasy football. This is a guy with clear top 5 upside coming off the board as the running back 9 in the middle to the late second round. Last season, I was all over Josh Jacobs like prime Darrelle Revis on your favorite wide receiver, right? This man had Ocho Cinco in shackles, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, didn't matter who it was. Darrelle Revis was all over him, and last season I was all over Josh Jacobs. Pause, right? This was a guy that finished as the running back 6 last season in PPR and the running back 8 in terms of PPR points per game. He had over 300 carries last year with 301, 17.7 per game. He ranked 6th in terms of carries. He was 6th in terms of rushing yards with 1,329. Now, Josh Jacobs is not your Christian McCaffrey. He's not your Devon Achane. He is not going to be your couple years ago Austin Eckler on the LA Chargers, right? Where catching balls is just their forte, right? Josh Jacobs isn't gonna probably get over 50 targets. He got 43 last year. If he got 50 or maybe 53, 55, I wouldn't be that shocked. But if he was getting 60, 70 plus targets, that would be a big shock to me. 43 targets last year, 36 receptions, 342 receiving yards, but he did end up scoring 16 total touchdowns at a 4.7% rate, 4th at the running back position. Now, there was a lot of people last year coming at me. Nick, you were given the Gawk Gawk 9,000 special to Josh Jacobs. And if you guys remember the start of last season, things were not sweet for Josh Jacobs, right? Things start off in Brazil with the Green Bay Packers going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, and guess what? The man only scored basically 12 fantasy points, right? He follows that up with, it's like, okay, guys, now he's coming back to the United States. Things will be better. 13 fantasy points, then just 5 fantasy points, then 11. But after that, things started to really pick up, and from week 7 through week 16, he was very reliable. And if we get a healthy Jordan Love for the whole season, this is a Green Bay Packers offense that, in my opinion, could be one of the best offenses in the NFL. Now, when you think about elite offenses, you typically think about offenses that have that dominant wide receiver 1, right? That prototypical franchise wide receiver guy, right? You think about a team having a guy like Jamar Chase, right? You think about teams having these alpha wide receiver 1s, and while the Green Bay Packers kind of play wide receiver by committee, they don't do the same thing with the running back position. There is not a single running back on this roster that I believe rivals Josh Jacobs in any way. I don't believe any of these guys can even hold his jockstrap. And again, we saw big upside last season. We saw week 7, 20 fantasy points up against the Texans, follows that up with 25.5 points up against the Jags. Sure, a bit of a down run up against the Lions, but then after that, 23 points, 28, 21, 24, 21. Sounds like a Savage song, right? And then 20.7 up against the New Orleans Saints. Josh Jacobs and this Green Bay Packers offense can kick into high gear, and this is a guy that can score 2 or 3 touchdowns in any given game. Again, if you are going for the wide receiver position early, this is a guy that is a great follow-up pick in the second round because he has the upside to be the running back number 1. I am a big believer in Jordan Love Me Tender, Love Me Sweet. I'm a big believer in the Green Bay Packers offense, and while I do think you might be pulling your hair out any given game of the season, if you have the Matthew Golden, you have the Jaden Riley Reed on your team, you're trying to figure out which one to start, and then you start the wrong one every single week, I think that's going to be very frustrating. But what I know what's not going to be frustrating, that is the play of Josh Jacobs. This guy's incredibly consistent. The Raiders, in my opinion, kind of fumbled the bag. I get, the Raiders kind of stink, so not paying him made sense. But I do think that Josh Jacobs is a great running back at the NFL level. And despite the fact that he isn't this pass-catching hog, he doesn't have the highest pass-catching prowess, the fact that he is going to get 300 plus carries, in my opinion, cements him as a clear top 10 running back with what I believe to be top 5, top 3 upside. And it would be a little shocking, but it's not all that crazy to, at the end of the season, if you said, Nick, Josh Jacobs was the RB1, I wouldn't be all that shocked. Last year, ranked 12th in explosive rating, 15th in yards created per touch, 9th in dominator rating, doing it all with the 34th best run blocking rating. So I think we're going to get a whole lot better season out of Josh Jacobs in 2025 in terms of just the O-line play being a little bit better. Next up, we got Omarion, Hampton, Chris Breeze of the LA Superchargers. If you guys didn't hear that song on the radio 9,000 times in like 2013, 2014, 2015, whatever that song came out with the guy named Omarion, and Chris Brown was in that song as well. And as you know, Chris Brown always knocks it out of the park. Running back 18 in terms of sleeper ADP, pick 46. Now, Hampton is a guy that I could see really getting the hype train come August, early September. Now, I don't think he's going to get steamed up so much to where he's coming off the board now, pick 46, and then we blink and it's late August when a lot of you guys are doing your fantasy football drafts, and he's going in like the early second round, but I could see him creeping his way like with the Jersey Shore cast on the boardwalk. They used to say creeping all the time. Shout out to Paulie D. But I do believe he could creep his way up to being inside of the top 3 rounds. Now, the reason why I like Hampton so much is not necessarily because I think he's going to instantly make a huge splash. Right? Week 1, you throw him into your lineup. I think there's a high chance right now that he's actually a dud for the first couple of weeks of the season, right? Because Jim Harbaugh is the kind of guy that might end up, screwing you over a little bit. They give the ball to Najee Harris a couple too many times early on in the season. But I think eventually, a couple weeks into the season, if it even starts this way, there's a chance that Hampton's just the bell cow week 1, that they realize, Najee Harris is just Najee Harris. You kind of know what he is. He kind of runs in slow motion. He's a fine running back. Like, I don't think anyone thinks Najee Harris is like, you stepped on shit and you look at it, you step on something and it's a picture of Najee Harris, right? I don't think he's that bad, but I also don't think Najee Harris is going to hold back a guy that was the 22nd overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft from being able to be the starter on the team. And you already know this is a Chargers team that wants to run the ball gently down the stream. That is the Harbaugh way of playing. And we saw J.K. Dobbins, who in my opinion just isn't himself, right? If you watched J.K. Dobbins last season, you would know that that isn't the same J.K. Dobbins that we got super excited about coming into the NFL out of the Ohio State University when he was a second round pick to the Baltimore Ravens, right? He wasn't that guy, but we saw the upside. And it's very clear that if Hampton is even slightly, 75% of what we bill him to be coming into the NFL, right? If he is just 75% or 80% of the guy that we expect him to be out of North Carolina, there is clear top 12 upside. J.K. Dobbins started off the season dropping his nuts in the mouth of the Raiders, 22.9 PPR points, then followed that up with 20.1 PPR points. Now, I know J.K. Dobbins wasn't the poster boy of safety last season, right? He had some ups, he had some downs, but he has another game with 18.2 points, 16.8, 24.5, 18.9. So as long as Justin Herbert, the pervert, ends up being healthy this season, knock on wood, as long as this offense is what we expect them to be, Omarion Hampton is in a great situation. And in fantasy football, a lot of the reason why a running back succeeds, for one, they're a talented player, right? You know why Saquon Barkley's good. You know why Christian McCaffrey can be really good, right? You know why some of these upper echelon running backs, Derrick Henry, are really good, because they're really good. But there are some other guys that, even if Omarion Hampton isn't that great, is going to make his money in fantasy football by the opportunity share he is gifted by this offense. And I believe Omarion Hampton is going to get a whole lot of chances in this offense to be the bell cow and to be a guy that can rip off top 5 games in fantasy football. And if he stays around the running back 16 to 18 range in drafts, this is a guy that can be a clear league winner. Last year at North Carolina, 21 years old, 281 rushing attempts for 1,660 yards, 5.9 yards per attempt, and 15 touchdowns. He also had 38 receptions for 373 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this isn't just some fugazi one-year wonder. His sophomore season, the year prior, he played in 13 games. He had 253 carries for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, with 29 catches for 222 yards and a touchdown. I believe in this Chargers offense. I believe in Harbaugh. And again, if we just saw J.K. Dobbins do it last year, and I believe that Omarion Hampton is clearly better than what J.K. Dobbins was that we saw last season, the upside is peak for Hampton. Next up, we move to Chuba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers, sleeper ADP running back 19 at pick 48. Now, Chuba Hubbard was a guy that was successful both with Bryce Young and with the Red Rifle Andy Dalton under center. He's currently coming off the board as the running back number 19 at pick 48, so it is not super likely that you get both Hampton and Chuba Hubbard on the same team, but it is definitely possible. Now, Chuba Hubbard did get a bit of a wrench thrown into things when the team ended up bringing in, you might just get hit with the Rico Dowdle, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, to be the running back number 2, right? Because there was this very big gap between Chuba Hubbard and, the other guys behind him last season, right? No one's thinking that those other backs were going to potentially steal his job. And I think there's a healthy gap between him and Rico Dowdle as well. I just simply think that Chuba Hubbard is a significantly better running back than Rico Dowdle. I don't think Rico Dowdle is some schlub, right? If Chuba Hubbard goes down like Uncle Jr. down in Boca Raton, right, then Chuba Hubbard then Rico Dowdle could end up being this great running back for fantasy football for the weeks that Hubbard's gone. But to me, there is definitely a solid gap between the two. Running back 15 last year in PPR, running back 13 in PPR points per game. And again, there was a lot of games last year where the Carolina Panthers were getting hit from the back. How you like that, right? Where the Carolina Panthers are getting pounded, right? Their theme is, keep pounding. Chuba Hubbard, despite the fact that the offense was getting pounded, this was a guy that was able to still put up very, very solid games. We saw close to 30-point performances out of Chuba Hubbard multiple times, and he even scored 32 fantasy points up against the Arizona Cardinals in week number 16, which was his final game of last season. Do I think that the Carolina Panthers are magically gonna, transform, Avengers assemble, Power Rangers assemble, right? Form to become this super elite offense at the NFL level? Fuck no, baby. Do I think Bryce Young is this elite quarterback just yet? No, but I do believe this is an offense that can cater to a guy like Chuba Hubbard getting 16, 17, 18 touches a game. And I think even if they do slightly pull back the amount of carries, this is a guy that can catch passes as well. Again, just kind of like how we talked about Josh Jacobs, right? I don't really think that this guy's like some elite pass catcher, but I do think his pass catching ability is personally a bit better than Josh Jacobs. Last season, he played in 15 games. He was 11th in carries. He ran for 1,195 rushing yards, 8th at running back. He had 54 targets, 12th, 43 receptions, 13th, 171 receiving yards, 41st, and 11 total touchdowns, a 3.8% rate, 12th at running back, 12th in true yards per carry, 6th in dominator rating, and was 30th in game script, because that's kind of obvious, right? I didn't need to tell you that the game script wasn't great for Chuba Hubbard for you to have realized that, right? You paid half a second of, your thoughts on an NFL Sunday to the Panthers, you looked at the screen, you would remember that they were getting plowed out. So Chuba Hubbard is, in my opinion, a solid running back, and I believe he is going to be the opportunity to continue to be the lead back on the Panthers. Again, if something happens to him, knock on wood, I do believe Rico Dowdle's talented enough to succeed, but I don't think that, again, he closes the gap super well on Chuba Hubbard. I think Chuba Hubbard is the clear #1 back on this team, and I don't believe that Chuba Hubbard is this dead zone running back that people love talking about in years past, like, oh, you're just taking the guy that had the good season the year before. It's clearly going to falter. The Panthers are going to suck donkey cock. I really think that the Panthers are going to be solid, and I think that Chuba Hubbard, even if the Panthers aren't amazing, which I don't think they will be able to put up a solid fantasy football season. And at the running back 19, I mean, the value's clearly there. Next up, we move to another rookie, and that's going to be Kaleb Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sleeper ADP currently coming off the board is the running back number 30 at pick 84. I do suspect that by the time we get to August, the gap between Kaleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren will be much bigger. Because right now, fantasy drafts, on Sleeper, Kaleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren are basically interchangeable. They go around running back 30 to 32, so they're going back-to-back Michael Jordan 96, 97, and if you've kind of looked through the tea leaves, it to me seems very clear that Kaleb Johnson is the running back 1 on this team, because they really seem to like Kaleb Johnson, at least based upon what I have read. And the facts are the facts, right? Jaylen Warren, in my opinion, was better than Najee Harris, but the team still wanted to run with Najee Harris ahead of him. So, in my opinion, the jury's kind of already out on what Jaylen Warren will be in this offense. He's a good backup running back, right? He's very talented, but the team doesn't want to use him. And the fact that they drafted Kaleb Johnson in the 3rd round, sure, it's not a 1st or 2nd round draft pick, but he was 3rd round draft capital. I really do believe he is in a good situation to succeed, assuming, now an assumption makes an ass out of you and me, right? That Aaron Rodgers does end up signing with the team, right? If this is Will Howard, or if this is some other schlub starting at the quarterback, like if they magically trade for Kirk Cousins or something, then I would backtrack my statement slightly, but as running back 30, I mean, I still do like him, even if the quarterback situation is good, but I project the quarterback situation to be a lot better. Before we dive deeper into Kaleb Johnson, though, and then my final running back that's going to be a league winner to help you win your fantasy football league, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends and our sponsor over at Underdog. Underdog has a great offer for you guys today. If you sign up using promo code Notorious or by clicking on the link in the video description, you will get a deposit bonus offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, as well as a gimme pick, which today on May 29th is going to be Tyrese Halliburton, higher than half of a point. You match that with any other player, and if both of your picks hit, you will get around 3 times what you put into your pick. And if you do multiple other picks, then the payout will obviously be higher. I love to do the drafts over on Underdog. Right now, they have a bunch of tournaments out there. If you're not someone that wants to enter BBM, right, $25 to enter, 15 million in total prizes. They also have smaller contests as well out there. If you only want to do, say, around $5 drafts, they have offers for that as well. So make sure you guys do check out Underdog. I love drafting on there, and maybe you guys can hop in a draft with me. So make sure you guys use promo code Notorious or click on the link in the video description to claim your offer. Back on into things here. So to give a quick read on Kaleb Johnson, his stats from last year at Iowa, again, he's the 83rd overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. He was 21 years old. He plays in 12 games with Iowa, 240 rushes for 1,537 yards and 21 touchdowns, 22 receptions for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, 23 total touchdowns for Kaleb Johnson. Now, again, reading into the tea leaves, a lot of the reporters for the Steelers are oogling and ogling over Kaleb Johnson. They love Kaleb Johnson, and I don't want to put too much stock into OTAs. Why? Because a lot of the time, these guys can look great in the shorts. They can look great before the pads are on. But then once it's the real game speed, right, the guys fucking shrink down. They crumble, right? I don't think Kaleb Johnson is the kind of guy to do that, but I don't want to just, be like, oh, the beat reporters love him at OTAs, guys. We need to fucking slob on this guy's knob like corn on the cob, right? I'm not saying that. I personally believe, again, that this team, if they like Jaylen Warren, you would have seen a lot more Jaylen Warren last season. And you would have seen more Jaylen Warren, even not just last season, in the past. You would have. You just would have. So Kaleb Johnson, to me, is the clear lead back on this team. He has shown off his ability in college, and I really do believe that he is going to be the clear lead back on this team, and the Steelers like to use a lead running back, right? In a perfect scenario, if Najee Harris lived up to his hype, that's a guy that was gonna be seeing a shit ton of touches every single game. I believe in the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers. I think Kaleb Johnson is a steal right now at running back 30, and this is a guy, again, when you're getting him at running back 30, you don't need to be top 12. If he is just the running back 20, the running back 18, then he's the running back 22, running back 16, right? You are getting high value out of that, and I believe he does have the upside to finish as a top 16 back on the season. Final guy here, we saved the best for last, and we also saved the divisive take for last, and that's going to be Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers, sleeper ADP running back 5 at pick 12. We've already talked about Christian McCaffrey pretty in depth in the running back rankings video, but Christian McCaffrey is going to be a guy that some of you are just completely off of, right? Some of you fell for the trap last year. You were the mouse to the cheese. You got clapped, right? You got finished. It didn't end up working for you. The trap gotcha. Some of you might be able to push that to the back of your mind. Some of you might be like, okay, one down season, I'm not going to super panic. And that's kind of the thought process that I have. Were things great last season? Fuck no, baby, right? He starts off the season week 10. He's finally back, right? He suffers that injury. And, you know, Kyle Shanahan's kind of doing the do-si-do around the questions. He's kind of giving us the answer like, oh, he's going to be fine for week 1. Don't worry. Don't panic. I'm like, okay, guys, we're not going to panic. We're going to listen to Kyle Shanahan, because to me, Kyle Shanahan isn't this like notorious liar, right? I believe what he's saying. I believe the song he's playing, the Pied Piper. I believe him. And it just was wrong. It was very wrong, right? His first game, week 10, he scores 16 points, then 14 points. Then things start to go a little bit downhill. But if you're reading into what things are saying, recently, the most recent report is from May 9th. It says 49ers to try to get Christian McCaffrey the ball as much as possible. San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator Clay Kubiak said that running back McCaffrey with his knee injury looks awesome. Everything is awesome. Shout out to the Lego Movie, right? This off season, and also said that we're going to do everything possible to give him the ball as much as we can. Now, I understand that Christian McCaffrey was as much of a bust as it gets, right? He's basically the prototypical fantasy bust. You draft him number 1, number 2, number 3 overall. The guy barely fucking plays, and even when he did play, he didn't play up to your expectations. But he, to me, was really looking good up against the Bills before he got hurt in that snow game. I believe that with 0 restrictions, Christian McCaffrey is a clear first-round pick with the upside to be the running back 1, right? This is a guy that we have seen put up these freak seasons, right? 2019 on the Carolina Panthers. The motherfucker scores 471 fantasy points. 471. The season before that, he had, I almost said 219. That's the amount of rushing attempts he had. He had 385.5 fantasy points. 2022, 356.4. 2023, 391.3. I understand that last season things weren't the best, but he's coming off the injury. I get that he's coming off an injury again, but based on everything that we've seen, McCaffrey's going to be good to go with 0 restrictions. Now, if we get to August and it's kind of this unclear situation again, then I'm ready to duck and cover. I'm ready to dodge and weave around what could be a knockout blow for drafting Christian McCaffrey. But as of right now, my belief is that McCaffrey's the knockout blow to your opponent. If I can get Christian McCaffrey at the 10th, the 11th, the 12th fucking pick, I am laughing directly at everyone's face. This is a guy that can score 25 plus points every single game. Again, 2019, this motherfucker averaged 29 points a game. The season after that, he only played in 3 games. He was averaging 30 points per game. Last year was only 11.9, but the season prior, 24.5. 21 in 2022. This is a guy that they lost Debo. They don't have Debo anymore. They want to run the offense through Christian McCaffrey. I get he's getting older. I get, Nick, you always say early on in your fantasy draft, you want to wrap that condom around your team, keep it safe. I get it. But this feels like a scenario where if I don't draft him, if you don't draft him, you're going to be sitting there at the end of the season scratching your head thinking, why didn't I draft Christian McCaffrey as the 12th pick when he's the running back one, when he's scoring 25 fucking points a game? You're going to be like, why did I not draft him? How stupid am I? That's how you're going to feel. So I'm not going to feel stupid this year. If McCaffrey's good to go, if everything is true, right? If this isn't some fugazi game that Kyle Shanahan's playing by August, I'm going to be drafting a ton of Christian McCaffrey, and his ADP is going to move up even further. He's going to be like a top 6 pick. Because healthy McCaffrey, it's hard to believe that he would finish outside the top 3 at the running back position. It is really hard to believe with his pass-catching prowess. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying today's video, make sure you leave down below in the comment section who your league-winning running back is this year, right? You might be like, Nick, I really think that Saquon Barkley, sure, you might have to draft him number 1 or number 2. I think he's really going to be amazing again. He's going to be this clear number 1 running back again. Let me know. Are you a Genty truther? Let me know who your favorite league-winning running back is this season. And make sure while you're down there, you hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Leave a like on today's video. I hope you guys did end up enjoying. Check out one of the videos on your screen if you haven't seen them already. Check out Underdog, promo code Notorious, link in the video description. Love you guys all. Have a great one. And as always, good boy.